Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking, coming to you with another video review. The game I am reviewing today is called 12 Realms, and I'd love to show you a game box, but this game just doesn't exist out in the wild. There's a Kickstarter going on right now for the expansion, and when I heard about 12 Realms a long time ago, it had this wildly successful Kickstarter campaign with tons of cool looking miniatures, tons of cool little add-on options and stretch goals and what have you. And I remember like always telling myself, God, I gotta remember to get in on that, because I was really taken with the idea of it. The idea of the game is that there are 12 fantasy realms of just strange. Each one has a different theme to it. And there are heroes that belong to those themes, and then there are villains that belong to those themes, and monsters that belong to those themes, and and just all kinds of stuff like that that are representative of these classic fairy tale regions and mythological regions. And I just thought the idea of it and the spectrum of it and the audacity of the game, if you will, really intrigued me. And plus it was a co-op, plus it had a lot of really awesome looking artwork, and my family really likes cooperative games, and so I was really looking forward to getting it. And of course, I totally forgot about it, and then all of a sudden when I did remember, it was done, it was over, and it had, there was no way for me to get on it anywhere. So I have tried unsuccessfully to get a hold of the base game, because I wanted to play it, but I mean it just didn't exist. They literally sold out every single copy. And my friends at Mage Company that I've worked with in the past to help them promote other games that they've made, I've kind of bothered them a great deal and asking them, can I get a copy? And they said, we'd love to send you one, but we just don't have any. And so then they decided they were going to make an expansion to the game, and I was super excited because I knew with the expansion of the game they were going to be offering the base game as well, and so I was really excited about being able to pick up both of them. And they contacted me and they asked me if I'd be interested in doing a review, and I said, yeah, sure, that seems awesome, but how am I going to review this if there's no game? And they said, we'll put something together and we'll send it to you. So I have something that I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you, and a lot of the components I have, it's kind of a hodgepodge, and I've had to piece it together. I have been able to play the game very successfully. I've played it with my friends, I've played it with my gaming group, I've played it with my family, and we've had a ton of fun with it. Just because I like all the things that I thought the game would be came true when I finally did play the game. So this is kind of a weird review because it's in support of a Kickstarter for an expansion to the game that I'm going to show you how to play, but I'm also going to touch on the expansion and what it adds and what you can kind of expect as far as that is concerned. So there you go. That's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to show you how to play the game and touch on the expansion a little bit, and then we'll come back here and then we will go on and I'll tell you exactly what I like about the game and why I think if you're a fan of cooperative games, I think this deserves to be on a spot at your shelf. On your shelf. Alright, so here we go, 12 Realms. Okay, I'm going to show you how to play kind of the base game for 12 Realms, and then I'm going to show you some of the added stuff that the expansion is going to come with. And just starters, what drew me to the game first was just kind of the look of it and the feel of it, and they really went totally over the top with just the artwork as far as just how the game boards look. And this is just like playing a solo game. You can have up to, well, the name of the game is 12 Realms, and so the idea is that there are several realms that you can have these adventures in. These realms are taken straight out of fantasy or also out of fairy tales and things like that. And this is the cherry blossom world, and you can obviously see that. But then some of the other ones, and notice this is I didn't get a full copy of 12 Realms. I mean, this game went over so awesomely with their Kickstarter and everything else that you know, they just didn't have copies, and so the people at Mage Company just sent me kind of a hodgepodge of stuff that they had from broken down components. But you know, there's like this like kind of ice gem world. I forget what it's called offhand. I apologize for that. The pirate world. And also the fairy forest, and so those are the 4 realms that came with the original game, and I do know they're going to have 4 more realms with the next one, you know, and so they're going to be able to expand this out. And so the way I've played it usually is with 4 players, and I've used 4 realms, but just for the sake of being able to, so you can see all the components, a solo game, which this game actually plays really well solo, and just playing this one simple game. Now, I'm using the hero Siegfried. I don't have the Siegfried miniature, but I have this guy, which he's just my stand-in. But these were the painted miniatures that came with the last Kickstarter, and they looked really well. And notice I also have like this is the Dark Lord for the area, some like weird cat. Japanese cat lady or something like that. Here, you can see her card right there. But anyway, the game is it kind of reminded me of like a lighthearted version of Darkest Night in a way. I don't know if you know that co-op. That's one of my favorite co-ops. But this game kind of reminded me of that because this is a game where it's timed, as most co-ops are, and you are trying to you know, basically make sure that you're taking care of the land, and you're trying to collect these relics that you are able to use to destroy the Dark Lord once they show up. And you have this track on the bottom that whenever there is a bad guy in your realm, and if there's multiple realms, each realm would have a track mark as well on the bottom, as you can see, and you track these all separately. And so you can see there's one on the bottom there. But as you track them, for every villain or bad guy that's in the realm, at the start of the turn, you move this up this chain. And you can see the 7 is blocked off. I'll explain why that is all blackened out. And you can see that it's red over here. When you get to that point, that is when the Dark Lord will show up and show up on the board. And so you can try to defeat them. And if it ever gets to 20, you automatically lose. And if it gets 20 on any of the boards, you automatically lose. You don't just like lose one board, you lose them all. So the game runs pretty simple. You can. It's a solo game, so what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to draw 2 cards for every board, every realm that you're using, plus 1. So if we were playing with 4 realms, you draw 9 cards, but all the realms cards would be in this deck, and you'd randomly all those little creatures would show up, and that's like pretty fun actually, because you never know where stuff is going to show up. One realm might be getting hammered completely, but then like it slacks off. There's one that's got nothing going on inside of it, and so you can kind of leave it alone for a while. But in this case, we have the one realm. We know it's all going to be in this one spot. And the rules actually state that if you're playing a solo game, you should only draw 2 cards, but if you want it to be difficult, you can draw 3. So I'll draw 3 just because I want it to be difficult or whatever. And so you turn these over, and like here we have, I don't know, some little fox lady or whatever. But okay, so it tells you which realm they're in. So if you didn't realize this is the Cherry Blossom one, you had multiple boards, you'd know that this is an invader for the Cherry Blossom world. This bottom part here, it tells you what you need to defeat this particular creature. And that means you need a swiftness or like a learning, or I think it's... But basically, what that is that on the character boards, I'll just try to pick this up without flipping all my tokens off of it. When you go to attack things, you have to look and see if you have the token that matches that... See, I knew that was going to happen. Here, I'll just flip that. You can see you have to have a token that matches one of those things that you need to defeat it. And so in this case, Siegfried has those abilities. So, we just... And so when you do your actions, and I'll show that in a second, what you're doing is you're just taking the actions that are over here and you're just moving off to the right to show that you've used them up. But in order to place her, what we do is we take this die, which is basically a 6-sided die with the numbers written in Roman lettering, and you roll a die, and so this one So she shows up in number 4. So we get a token for her over here. There we go. And we find that spot. We just put her there, like so. And these tokens actually are pretty helpful. They actually have, there you go, what it takes to defeat them written right there on there as well. It's kind of tiny, but in case you don't want to have to like hold on to the card to show what you need, you can definitely just use that instead. So we'll go ahead and put that over there, and then we'll get the next one. We have just a classic ninja, and so we'll grab a ninja. And you can see these guys a little bit bigger because they're a little tougher. Because notice it takes 2 separate things to destroy him, a swiftness and an attack. So we'll roll here, see where the ninja shows up. Let's roll that again. All right, a 6. So, and I should mention that like we did set up the board. You put 2 treasures that you can collect in like two locations, both the 1 and the 2, and you set one of the artifacts that you're going to need in spot number 6. And obviously you can't collect the artifact if there's a creature there, so we're going to have to take out that ninja if we want to do that. And draw another one, and here we have some raccoon guy. And you can see that there's a couple things here. You can see that the raccoon guy can be defeated with swords, or a heart, or money, and like so any of those 3 can defeat him. And this little marker down here, what that means is that when he shows up, he brings along buddies. And so we go ahead and we grab, there we go. And we're going to see where they show up. And also in 6, so that's not good at all. So we have like a bunch of guys sitting in there, and waiting for me to try to come in and either use my charm or my fighting or money to convince them to get lost. So after you set that up, you can take your actions. And to move from one spot to another, it costs you a swiftness action, which is just one of these things with this little wings on there. And so so if I wanted to move into that spot to attack these guys or try to clear them off before the next turn shows up and they start getting better, then I would go in there and do that. If also as the ability, you can also, like if you notice this spot, this is the town. It says that you can by spending 1 swiftness, you can go ahead and draw 2 cards. And so like if I did that, what you can do is you look and then you see what you get, and it's like a Pegasus, which obviously that's like a flying horse basically, which is pretty cool, and it costs 2. Or this one-time use bars of silver that if you use it up, it gets you 3 money and things like that. But I've got more pressing details I need to worry about these guys. And even though Siegfried has 2 money, which is actually a pretty powerful ability to have because you can start shopping right away. And he's a really good character actually. He's pretty good. I'm gonna want to move in there to kind of clear it out because I don't want there to be too much like sitting here and gaining ground as far as the bad guys go, because I want to be able to get over here and collect this artifact too, because pretty soon the evil Dark Lord's going to show up, and I'm going to need that to defeat her. So you spend 1 swiftness to move over to here, like so, and so you spend that swiftness token, you go over there like that. And so there is a ninja that costs a swiftness and a sword, which I could do that, and then these either take a sword, charm, or money. And so what I can do is I can go sword, charm, money. So, and you can tack as many as you want. You can get rid of as many as you want. That's, your ability. So I can just go ahead and notice I can get rid of all of those. And that takes care of all of these guys. Like so. And you will notice, this is quite fortuitous, that this artifact, one of the 3, actually requires, and it's tough to see, but it requires, that you can see the wing over there. So I can actually spend my last swiftness to do that, and then I collect the artifact. And so now I have one of the 3 artifacts I'm going to need, that I'm going to need to use to defeat the the Dark Lord when she comes out. And so when the next turn comes, we look and see how many invaders are still on the board. There's one over there. We put that on 1. We'll draw more cards. And, you know, it's like, oh, and like, here's actually, like, one of the, like, you can see this is an artifact card. And so then, I'm getting really lucky. So you draw this, and this basically tells you where to place the next artifact. And so, okay, and this one will be on spot number 4. And so there are, as I said, 3 artifacts, and since it is random, you're supposed to, you know, pick one of these at random. So just grab that. And so spot number 4, well, this will be artifact number 3. It requires a sword to pick up, so we'll put that over there, like so. And, you know, and then we'll draw a couple more cards and so forth. And so you can see, you know, eventually then I'm going to have to move over there. Now, if I was playing with more realms, if like another realm was doing really poorly, you can move your guy into the city and then use a swiftness action to move to another city on another board. That immediately ends your turn, though, but that's how you move back and forth. Eventually, when you hit number 7, you roll randomly, and whatever the last. So this is like, say we got to 7, and that was the first card we drew. Then we draw this. Oh, and it's a treasure. So we get to place another treasure randomly. We'll just go ahead and see where that goes. So that also will go right there, and then we draw another card. I got another treasure. Well, I need a creature. So I apologize for that. So here we go. We get a Tengu, and so we take that particular bad guy. If I can find one. Sometimes these tokens are a little small, and so we roll randomly where that is, and so it's spot number 2. And we would place him there. But as soon as number 7, we hit 7 or go past 7, you then put the Dark Fortress out. And what the Dark Fortress does is that any creatures that are on the spot with the Dark Fortress can't be attacked until you've dealt with the Dark Fortress, because it protects it. And so those are like some of like the like different things that actually will block you. Certain creatures, when they come out, will curse areas. They will make it more difficult for you to like get into the areas and do your damage. Some of the things are even bigger and badder, like this one takes 2 swords or 2 magic or what have you. So ultimately, you know, this is kind of like the easiest one to play on, mind you. But ultimately, what you're doing is eventually you're kind of trying to build yourself up by getting, you know, more powers. More. Oh, and I should mention, when you start your next turn, you do flip all those back over. You're trying to get more powerful, and so when you do finally run into the Dark Lord, you will have to fight her. And these question marks down here means that you randomly determine what you'll need to defeat her. And so you do that by rolling this dice 3 times. So like a sword, a heart, and a book. Now, a lot of times though, you'll be saying, well, you know, Siegfried doesn't have a heart or a book. And so the thing is that you'll have to purchase certain things. Like here's like this sensei trainer that for 1 coin you roll randomly, and it'll train you on 1. So hopefully maybe you'll like get a permanent ability to add to it. Or sometimes like you get certain items that will give you those abilities as well. You know, like there's horses, as we saw the Pegasus before. There's horses that give you more swiftness. There's these. Just a second, let me flip the card over. There's these things that actually give you these crown abilities. That's like a wild card ability, so you can actually replace that with it. So there's things like that you can get that you'll be able to use. That actually will give you those abilities that you need, even if it's just as a one-shot turn or something, so you have that ability or that power, which is, you know, the kind of way you have to solve the puzzle, if you will, for the game. Now, like I said, this is like kind of the really basic overview of the gameplay, and you know, it's a very, very fun game. My daughter actually really enjoys this. This is a co-op game that she really like glommed onto the idea of it, and she really liked the different like fairy tale creatures and things like that. And so I've been really enjoying it a lot, playing it with her. And so, you know, hopefully, you know, like I'm backing the Kickstarter so I can actually get the real copy, so we can actually play the whole thing. Now, that's the base game. Now, with the expansions, what's going to happen is that they're like I said, they're adding more realms, they're adding more heroes, they're adding tons of stuff. But the cool thing that they're adding to the expansions is they're adding plots. And by adding plots, what they're doing is they're kind of adding like a substance or a story to what's going on. And plots will be part of certain like stories or realms. Like, so for the Cherry Blossom one, the plot that they're giving you is like the ninja monkeys, if you will. And with the ninja monkeys, what it is that at the end of the game, you notice there's one that's different color. And there's a variant rule in the book that talks about having one person actually being like the Dark Lord. And what this does is this is kind of like a secret traitor type thing. And so you will hand out these cards at the beginning of the game, and the person that gets the off-colored ninja monkey here is the bad guy. They are going to be playing the game like suboptimally and trying to make sure that the players lose. And if they lose, then they win because of the fact they've been working against them. You have the ability during the game to point, like at any point in time you can say, I think that person is the ninja, and you can discuss that thing, and adds that kind of negotiation aspect to the game. If you can figure out who the ninja is, you out him early, and then he has to go to the Cherry Blossom world and kind of just stay there and work against you from that location. And then you have to defeat them by using your talents, just like you defeat anybody else. They get eight different talents that you have to exploit, is what it's called. You know, so I call it fighting, but it's actually called you exploit the talent to be able to defeat them. And they actually have to defeat them to win the game. Not just defeat the Dark Lord, you have to defeat them as well. If you pick wrong, like everybody goes, oh, I think it's that person, so this is where like the ninja gets to sow seeds of discontent. If the ninja can convince everybody else to pick somebody else, and oh yeah, he's the ninja, that person's the ninja, then if they guess wrong, everybody loses 2 of their exploits, 2 of their talents permanently, and then you can do the game. So the game gets a lot more tough as that goes. So along with that, with another one of the realms, this is the fairy fortress, or the fairy forest, if you will. There is a plot that is all about catching these crazy squirrels. And so, yeah, I know it's kind of weird. And if you go to the game, the Kickstarter page, you can see that this does look different. But what happens is that you will pick a spot for the squirrel nest. And to use the squirrel nest, I am going to use this snake that my son made for me. That's a squirrel nest. And you randomly determine where the squirrel nest is by rolling a die. And so once you know where the squirrel nest is, you put and then you place these squirrels in every other location on the board besides where the squirrel nest is. And so you need, the game kind of continues as normal. Bad things come out and constantly cause this thing to go up. But in order to win, and this happens on every single realm board that you play with, not just this one. You have to go out and you have to collect these, and you can only collect one at a time, and you need to bring them back to the nest to trap them. And then once you get them back there, you just turn them into one of these squirrels that's behind a cage. And this obviously is not the final art, but it's just an added little crazy sub-story where not only are you trying to take care of everything else that's going on, but you also have to capture these crazy squirrels and before you get to the end. And my daughter thought that the crazy squirrel variant was hilarious. And this is kind of one of the things about the game that really appeals to me, is the fact that it really doesn't take itself all that seriously. And I'm all for playing grim and gritty games. I think they definitely have their place on my gaming shelf. But every once in a while, it's fun to play something that's a little whimsical, but also offers a challenge. And this is a very challenging cooperative game. I mean, I should say that the base game probably not the most challenging game, cooperative game I've ever played. But when you start adding in the different variants that are with the base game, plus the different plots and things like that, then the game really starts ramping up as far as the difficulty. Now, this is the Pirate Island, as I said before, and this is the last little plot. There's more than just these 3 that I'm telling you about. I'm not going to tell you about every single one. I invite you to go to the Kickstarter page and check those out. But, so you have this ghost pirate ship, and this is probably the coolest one. This is the one I like the most. And the ghost pirate ship actually it cruises around the pirate island. And so you got to imagine that there's more than just this realm out there. And then these ghost pirates sit on the pirate ship, and they cruise around the whole thing. And as they are moving from spot to spot, they are a cursed location. Like, you can't enter it, you can't... they protect things by having a curse. And also, the whole process is that in order to win with this plot in, you have to destroy the dark fortresses. Because that is... in each realm will have a dark fortress, and you have to destroy those. And in order to be able to defeat the dark fortress, what you have to be able to do is you have to get on... you spend a Swift token to get onto the pirate ship. You have to defeat every single one of the pirates that's on the ship, and they have a random ability that they have. And so, like, you have to roll for each one differently. So you got to defeat that one with magic. Next one you got to defeat with a sword, and so on and so forth. And so you need to kind of probably build up your character a little bit before you get in there and be able to take them out. And then, after you've defeated that, the character that's on the pirate ship now is stuck in that pirate ship. They can't ever leave. They are considered the cursed member of the ship now. And they can then move the ship back and forth. They can't ever leave this realm. But the cool thing is since all the other realms have numbers on them and what have you, if you are, say, like on this spot, like spot 4, and there's nothing there on that realm, but, like, say, on the Cherry Blossom world, like, here's those things on spot 4 right there. So, because you're on spot 4, then you can use your abilities to attack, because you're basically, like, using the ghost ship, to attack those things over there. And you can collect the artifacts, you can collect the money, and you do those things with that location going around there. In the meantime, everybody else that isn't on the ghost ship has to take care of everything else and, like, make sure, because remember, you got to be destroying the bad guys, the invaders, as they show up, because that causes, if you don't, that causes this to escalate quickly. And then eventually you'll be able to use the ghost ship to destroy the black fortresses on each one of the spots, and once you do that, then you'd win that particular plot, if you will, that added little level of difficulty that the co-op game has. So, I mean, this expansion just adds a ton of stuff, and plus, like I said, it's like the only way right now that I know of that you can actually get a hold of a copy of the base game to begin with in and of itself. So, but enough about the gameplay and what you kind of get. Let me tell you exactly what I think of the game and why I like it. There you go. That's how you play 12 Realms. And like I said, I didn't show you every single one of the plots that are going to be included. And I think they're even adding more and more with the stretch goals and things like that, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've actually checked out the Kickstarter page. But anyway, regardless, there you go. That's how you play the game. Now, as far as co-op games go, and I kind of touched on this a little bit in the gameplay version portion of this video, this game is not really complex, if you will. I mean, it's got a lot of the elements of other cooperative games that I've played, but it's kind of like a watered-down version of them. And I'm pretty picky when it comes to my cooperative games. I've had a lot of people ask me, my friend Joel, he mentions, Defenders of the Realm, and I just didn't really like that. I thought it was just kind of like a fantasy version of Pandemic, basically. I didn't enjoy it very much. And Pandemic, I just despise that game for reasons I won't go into here. But it's one of those things where I don't know what it is about games that kind of click with me and don't. I mean, whenever I've said when I've done these reviews, I've always said that if the game is fun to me, That's what matters. That's what matters to me, is whether or not I'm having fun while I play it. And I have a ton of fun while I'm playing 12 Realms. Now, if I want to get into more in depth the reasons why I like it, I think it's pretty obvious. I really love the theme of it. I love the hodgepodge, like, let's just throw this all into a blender and make a game out of this. And the thing is that there's other games out there that I know that have tried to do that, and with varied success. I think it is kind of difficult to do so, but I think the reason it works here is because, as I said in the gameplay version, it kind of isn't afraid to make fun of itself in a way. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but not in like a way like, you know, like some games I've played that it's just like, oh, look at this, you know, we got dinosaurs and zombies and skeletons and wizards and all this stuff. Look at all the stuff we're throwing together. Isn't this neat? You know, it doesn't take that attitude. It's kind of like, this is kind of serious. Here's all these different realms of mythology and fairy tales, and we're going to make it a serious game where you need to defend these against these horrible dark lords, you know. And so it's like, oh, okay, you know, it's kind of epic. It's kind of a grand scheme. And it doesn't hurt that the gameplay is really, really easy to grasp right away. And because it appeals to, like, that portion of my gaming that I like to open up the doors to people that aren't, like, hardcore gamers. And, like, most notably, my family. My wife, bless her heart, will play games with me if I ask her to, but, you know, she's always has said, I don't want to play something where I need to read the rules for 8 days, you know. And so when I set something like this in front of her, I can say, well, here you go. We roll a die, we put these monsters out there, we go down, we track them down, and we defeat them, and then we race against time. She's like, perfect. That's exactly what I want to play. Something straightforward where I know what I have to do and it isn't too difficult. And then we can add my daughter into the mix, you know, and I can watch her kind of like the tumblers click in her head and realize that, like, oh, you know, it's like she says, I can use these Swift tokens and I can move over there and then I can get that treasure. And, like, she thinks of that on her own. I mean, I can't help but smile and get excited about it because, you know, it's just like, I know that, like, she's proud of herself for, like, being able to play the big guy game instead of, like, you know, us playing the kids versions of games that we play. Not, you know, not that she doesn't enjoy those, but she always wants to get in on, like, our bigger games, you know, and things like that. And so when she can and does compete in those, you know, it makes her very proud of and I'm very proud of her too, as well, for that matter. So, you know, that, and, like, it helps that the game is overproduced to the nines. I mean, the game is just beautiful to look at. The boards are beautiful. The figures are beautiful. The cards are beautiful. Everything is just, like, has, like, this nice, like, not, like, cartoony look to it, but, like, fantasy, but, like, how do I put it? It's definitely a fantastic world that you're in, but it's like a fantastic, like, cartoon, if you will. And I like that. I like that look to it. I like that production value of it. And plus, you know, like as I mentioned, like, the miniatures themselves, I mean, even I've seen pictures of even the unpainted ones that look pretty amazing. And you know, these do is, you know, just they look well. The game just pops when you see it on the table. It isn't just a bunch of cubes being moved around. People see it and they go, "Whoa, what are you playing?" You know? They see these castles and these little whatever on the board, and they're like, "Whoa, check that out!" And I mean, and I don't know, honestly, I don't know how they're going to do the ghost ship, but man, I sure hope that it's a really cool looking ghost ship when they finally do, when they make that and put that in the expansion. So, I mean, you know, ultimately, if you like co-op games, I think this is a fit for you. As long as you don't want it to be something like super serious and super, you know, hardcore as far as like a rule set go. If you're somebody who enjoys that medium to lighter medium cooperative game, where everybody can kind of work together and do their thing, you know, I think this is a game for you. This isn't a game where one person ends up telling everybody else what to do. Each person can kind of just go off to their own little realm and like take care of what's going on in there, and like kind of move back and forth and try to help each other out. Because, and I forgot to mention this actually when I was explaining the game, if you're in the same spot as somebody else, you can actually, like, when you do your attacks, you can have somebody ally with you, and they can help you if you don't have the certain abilities to defeat them. So like there is actually that nice cooperative feel to the game too, when people kind of move together and they go to do one thing together and things like that. And I like that aspect as well. I like when the game allows you to, like, instead of just a cooperative game where people are just off, you know, I'm taking care of this, you go take care of that, and no, let's make sure we both take care of our spots. Here's a game where, like, you actually, let's go here and we'll do this together. And I like when cooperative games actually do that and add that dimension to the game as well. So I guess there you go. I mean, I really like it for all those reasons and more. I invite you to check out the Kickstarter page and check out what they're doing over there. If you have any questions or concerns about the game, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer those to the best of my ability, and I'm positive the fine folks at Mage Company would be more than willing to answer your questions as well if you were to post them on my video or even send them directly at their Kickstarter page. So there you go. As always, I am the Undead Viking. This is my gaming dojo, and I am very appreciative of the time that you took to watch this video. So until next time, this was me telling you to have yourself an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.